Congratulations to the two of you for this magnificent film, and thank you so much for sharing your time with us. The idea for this film, where it came from, and how this project got started.
Some of the stuff you saw happened in my family, not exactly, but inspired by stuff that happened in my family, and this topic of inheritance and laws in general that are not fair to women. This is all around me all the time, and I hear stories about it all the time. So it wasn't hard to come up with it, but I tried to tell a story that's very different from my family. The relationship between Noura and Maryam, the sisters, is very much like my relationship with my older sister. We fight all the time. We get on each other's nerves all the time, but we love each other so much. So that was easy to write, the constant ping pong between them.
I'm curious to know what the casting process was like and how you found the two of them.
I mean, for us in a place like Palestine and many other countries, it's nothing like what happens in the US here. Here, you have a huge variety of people to select from. In Palestine, it's not easy to find both men and women, actually. And then my casting director suggested Yasmine. And I ended up with Yasmine and Clara, who also lives here. I did a first audition with Yasmine, and then I auditioned so many other people. And this woman is completely crazy. In the second audition, she came back over Zoom still, with a wig that looks something like that, and with long blue nails. I didn't write blue in the script, but she put blue, and I kept the color blue for her. She's Noura, definitely.
Yasmine, yes, your performance is so great, but you have such great chemistry with your co-star Clara Khoury. I'm just curious what it was like preparing for the role, how you work with her to really. I mean, I totally believe you guys are sisters. It's so fantastic. So how did you work with her and to prepare for this?
This movie, performance-wise, was a journey for me because the last big acting job I have done was Quantico. And after Quantico, I felt depressed. I went out on a lot of auditions that I did not book. I didn't want to do mainstream TV again. I felt that I betrayed my soul and why I became an actress. And I stayed home and I waited and I waited and I waited, and the pandemic happened, and then the strike happened. And I started working. I just started taking classes again. And Lee made me fight with something called simplicity. The simple choices are harder for me than the hard choices. It's very easy for me to cry and scream and be intense, It's very hard for me to be simple. And Lee put me on that journey. She put me on the journey of the nothingness of it, the stillness of things, the luxury of simplicity that I never felt as a human being, not as an actress. Being born a Palestinian refugee in Lebanon, having the first 14 years of my life be a civil war, and just watching what's happening to my people now, there is nothing simple about me. So for me to wake up in the morning and just smile, it's work, it's a choice. So as an actress, I had to work on things that the human being, the individual in me, doesn't get to do as much. When the phone rang at 2 a.m. and Najwa Mubarki, the casting director, called me and she was like, I have a feature film for you. It's a tiny movie and you're gonna have to audition. I was like, fuck that, I'm not gonna audition. I'm Yasmine Al Massri, I made it in Hollywood. You wanna take me back to Palestine and have me audition? Yeah. But then I sat with myself and I say, shut up, Yasmine. Humble yourself. You're gonna audition. Because I wanted to change. I was really so desperate to change. And for me, if that means starting from zero, then that's what I'm gonna do. So that's what I did. I auditioned a lot and I discovered the amazing Laila, and everything made sense. I felt that I'm exactly where I need to be, doing exactly what I love. I'm a single mom. I'm co-parenting with my ex who's in the room, and I thank him for allowing me to do what I do, allowing me to go away, shoot movies and come back. Our responsibilities as mothers, our insecurities about our bodies, our love for cinema, we truly love cinema. There is nothing that Clara and I would not do to make the scene work. All of that made us bond and do what we did. Some directors get insecure, or they have a plan and they get obsessed with the plan. She showed up to set and did not put any borders for us, made us think and feel that everything was possible. And she made us know that she will make it work. She will make it work with the camera. She will make it work for the sound. She will make it work for the light. She did not set boundaries when the creative was happening. And that is always a blessing for an actor. That's what every actor would love to have, a director who gives them this gift. And for that, I thank you.
Although I thought I was very obsessive. Thank you for saying that. Right?
This is a film that does deal with a very heavy themes, patriarchy, misogyny, female liberation. But as we heard, the audience was laughing throughout it as well. You've managed to inject this humor into the film. And I'm curious if that was a deliberate choice on your part.
I like this kind of drama, because at the same time I was writing this one, I was writing another story that was very, very, dark and very political, and this was actually I wrote them simultaneously because I wanted to have fun when I'm really depressed in that other project. I come to this one to have some fun. And at the very beginning, the first draft was nothing like this. It was very, more realistic, but which means more depressing. Later on, as the drafts kept, evolving, I felt that no, let's do something more fun. And I was, hoping that I would end up with a story, a script that will entertain as many people as possible, and also teach them something about where I come from and what it looks like, and the relationships in our society, inside a family. I wanted to write a story criticizing the laws, the religious laws in my country and in the Arab world and the Islamic world. But I did not want to do it in such a way where I can, repel our audiences back home. If it was just, attacking these laws in a certain way and ridiculing those who still believe in them, I will lose something very valuable for me, which is to engage them in the conversation and let them see my point of view and let them think about it. And also, I was thinking that I don't not want to make a film or tell a story that, criticizing my own people as if I'm, a self-hating Arab or Muslim, or, I'm not religious at all, but still our relationship with the West sometimes is very problematic. And I'm very comfortable criticizing the laws and many things about religion back home with my people. But when I am in a different setting with people from the other side of the world, I find myself to be more defensive, more protective of my people. So I had that. I had to think about all these complexities while telling this story.
Do we have any questions from the audience? Yes, right here.
Hi. Thank you both so much for being here. I'm a student at the AFI FEST, and this obviously actually launched a new semester called AFI for Palestine.
Wow.
Thank you. Wow. On a divestment campaign, and so far the administration has refused to meet with us, saying that it's not their business to get into politics. And I know, before the screening, we were saying that you were starting to give up on the American people. I don't blame you. I was just wondering if you had any words to say to the AFI.
Well, I do, because I live here. Laila is doing her job. She's based at home, and she is taking every platform to talk about what's happening at home. But as a woman who works in Hollywood, who's Palestinian, and also whose child is born in the US, I have things to say. When I played the twins in Quantico, I played two Palestinian women born in Lebanon, American, who joined the FBI, right? And the whole plot of Quantico was about the class in which they graduated. One of them was supposed to be a terrorist. And I remember on the day I auditioned for the show, I asked Josh Safran, am I the terrorist? Because if I'm the terrorist, I'm walking off the set and you're going to be in deep trouble. So having the AFI talk to you is going to be a work in progress. I would love it if they have talked to you already. But I have no doubt that they will have to sit with you and talk to you because you are a part of this country. You are an American child. And America is made out of diversities, ethnic diversities, all kinds of diversities. And Biden apologized from the indigenous American people today. I don't know if you were watching. Big news. There is no future for America without the different pieces, the different puzzle pieces that come from all around the world, the Latino community, the Asian community. There are Jewish kids supporting Palestinian freedom. The Jewish Voice for Peace have been advocating, like, there is no saying no to the future. Saying no to Palestinian freedom and all kind of indigenous freedom is saying no to the future of America. And I don't think this country doesn't want to have a future. So you keep at it. You will make them hear you.
What's your name?
Sorry.
Okay, Liz. Well, let me tell you this. For us there in Palestine, while everything is happening, we look at those campuses in the US, and for us, that's probably the only glimpse of hope. And it's very refreshing to see that the younger generations in America have a different view of the world.
Also, the fact that the movie is programmed at the festival, it's very important to admit that. If they wanted to silence a Palestinian voice, this movie wouldn't be screened here. This is a big deal. Us, you being physically here, and us facing you now, watching the movie together in a physical way.
So this question is for Yasmine's son. It's how many times have you seen this movie?
I heard about it, but I only watched it once.
What's your reaction to it, seeing your mom on the screen?
It's nice to see her on screen for the first time.
So in terms of the production of the film, you shot in Ramallah. What difficulties did you face doing so?
Let me tell you something. It's my first time in LA, okay? And yesterday and the day before, I felt like, okay, I really need to do some of the touristy stuff here. And I went to the Warner Brothers studios and Paramount. And as I was, taking the tour, I was thinking to myself, we must be absolutely crazy to make films in that part of the world, because you cannot really travel easily inside Palestine. It limits you with locations. Also, this film is a co-production between Palestine and Germany, so we also had to import talent and crew. You remember the scene where there was the clashes, the boys burning tires, and just a day before shooting that, one of the producers came to me saying, you know what, we either get rid of this scene or we think of somewhere else. That's after, of course, the DP and I went there and thought about everything and the lighting and everything. And he was worried because there's an Israeli settlement across, and on the mountain facing that area. And he said, they could easily think that it's real clashes. And I said, you know what? Let's ask the Germans. So I asked the Germans and I said, guys, this is the situation. And they said, no, we fixed everything here. We know how the lighting works here. We're staying here. And I went to my producer, if the Germans are not scared, we're staying here. So a lot of stories.
I'd like to add something about that. Every Palestinian movie is a miracle. Palestinians in Ramallah don't have the freedom of movement like Palestinians in Jerusalem. And they don't have the same kind of freedom of movement like the Palestinians in Haifa and Yafa and Akka, and those are the Palestinians who have the Israeli nationality. Now, the Palestinians in Ramallah have a card, an identity card, that says they are Palestinian, and their freedom of movement is restricted to a certain area. In that area, we do not have a school for cinema. The makeup artist in the movie taught herself by watching YouTube videos. To make the crew that we had, Najwa Mubaraki, who is the casting director, who's an amazing casting director who lives in Jerusalem, she brought a lot of people from everywhere. We had Palestinian brothers and sisters coming from Haifa and Yafa and Nazareth and Gaza and Jerusalem to work on the movie. But the opposite cannot happen. I want you to know that our people in Ramallah do not have the freedom of transportation and also the luxury of choice and the luxury of going to university to study what they love. What we have, why this is a miracle, we have love and passion to being heard, because that's the way we advocate, that's the way we exist, is doing cinema. We are not heard in a political way. We are not heard in social justice platforms. We're only heard when we make movies. And again, she showed up on set and I have never seen her having tension or screaming or fighting or getting angry at anyone. Like, I've seen this on big Hollywood budget projects where people get frustrated and overwhelmed. I've never seen her get angry or fight with anyone.
It was all happening inside my head.
Well, we need to talk about that.
This filmmaker from Tunisia really appreciated how unapologetically feminine and Palestinian the film is, and notes that often, films from North Africa have a certain Western perspective that seeps in. What did you have some of that in your mind when you were preparing the film?
I had a lot on my mind. So all these things, I wasn't trying to be politically correct or religiously correct because I do not want to offend people and I want to be nice, and I don't make films to make friends. That's not my intention. But again, for me, I wanted to get my message across and not repel people from the first 10-15 minutes and like, oh no, this is against us and this is no. My intention was for them to watch the film till the end and then get them to have this conversation with themselves and with the people around them. But I felt also, this medium has a power also. This has the power to reach many people. I felt I wanted to get this message across. But again, since there are students here, never think or get obsessed about the message while writing the story. Make sure you tell an interesting story. If it's horror, make it as scary as possible. If it's comedy, make it as funny as possible. And by telling a good story, then you can get your message across.
We have to come up with new stories and take risk to go to the system and tell the system, you cannot keep functioning that way. We're not going to tell that story. We're done with it. Thank you. We have new stories for you, and that's how we're going to tell them. And it's the quality of your script, like Laila said, that's going to get you the funding. But you are the soldiers of change. Nobody's coming to save us. If we are going to break with the Orientalist colonial dynamic that we have with Western funding, it's going to be you doing it. Nobody's going to do it for you.
Thank you again so much for the film and for your time, and thank you all for coming out.